So I've been doing some reading about co-parenting with a narcissist and or a sociopath, and in a lot of reflection and reading articles and watching YouTube videos, something hit me the other day where I think too many people do not reflect on what they have versus what somebody else doesn't have. So, for instance, if one parent has been a single parent almost their entire life and the other parent has had a significant other their entire life, then things are never going to be the same between the two households. And the answer is not that the single parent finds somebody to be with. It's being accepting of a different lifestyle, but still trying to co-parent and help one another. So if one of the households has a lot of family in the area, that family should not only be there for the child when they're with parent A and never when they're with parent B. That's not how family works. I mean, my family, I was always my grandparents' granddaughter. I was always my aunt and uncle's niece, and that doesn't change. I mean, I would do anything for my friends' kids. I would do anything for my baby daddy's kids. I mean, I used to pick them up from school and drop them off at home. If they were ever hungry, I would be more than willing to buy them food or take them to a practice if I need to. Now, if parent A will not allow parent B to ever help, that's their own prerogative, especially for no good reason. I mean, if parent B were an alcoholic or into drugs or had bad people around the child, then yeah, that's understandable. But when parent B is educated, has a good job, good morals and values, never has given parent A a reason to not trust parent B with not only their child but their other children, it's just beyond ridiculous that you wouldn't consider everybody a part of the family. I mean, my daughter's sisters and brother are an extension of her, and I would not treat them ill unless they were horrible to my daughter and I needed to stand up for her. I mean, when we go see her brother, he's always very nice and polite to me, and if he needed anything, I'd be there for him. Now, if his mom would let me be there for him, that's another story. You can only control how you act and react, and not how other people are and how they react to things. So, again, I would go out of my way to do anything for my ex's kids if it were in my power, if they needed a ride to or from somewhere, or I'm really good with English. I have a master's in it. So if one of their kids needed help with their homework, I would be more than willing to help them. But if that other parent is just bitter and spiteful and will not allow it just because they're bitter and spiteful, then there's nothing you can do. And the main reason I think that the other parent does not allow these sorts of things is because they want to continue feeding their children a negative aspect of parent B. So if those children ever interacted with parent B and found out parent B was not all what parent A was saying, and they're good, nice, and helpful, that would just completely tear apart parent A's story, and then maybe their own children would find out that their parents are wrong or jaded, probably the best word. So you can run into these types of problems with narcissists and sociopaths. They will isolate people so that they can't see your true self, and they will only allow their story that they're creating to be told and formulated. And if they can't, if there's any interaction that's positive, the other parent, the narcissist or sociopath, will usually try and twist it somehow, or say that, oh, they're just being nice to you to get you to like them. And they'll just keep lying and lying and lying, because that's what they do. They're pathological liars. Everybody needs to see their story for how it is. And so it's hard to tell, who's the liar, because their stories are so convincing that they adapt them and take them on, and they'll just talk you in circles and dig deeper and deeper and deeper. So it's hard to know what the truth is, especially when the other parent isn't able to defend themselves. That's kind of all you gotta work with, but you just have to not let it affect you. You have to know that you're a good person, and that if given the chance, you would be helpful for those children, just as their family and extended family should help you out. So even if it's parent B's weekend, the family and extended family from parent A should still help. It's not just, oh, I'm their grandma when it's parent A's time. Oh, I'm just their aunt when it's parent A's time. I refuse to help parent B, especially when parent B doesn't have an extended family around, or isn't married, or have a significant other. I mean, if you think about it, I would bet money that parent A would completely fall apart if they didn't have a significant other, if they didn't have the help of the significant other's family, if they didn't have help of their own family. If there were an even playing field, the cards would be stacked completely differently, and parent A would be singing a different tune. But when you're not in somebody else's shoes, it's very hard to see it from a different person's perspective, especially when you're a narcissist and sociopath. You are actually incapable of seeing it from somebody else's perspective in an empathetic way, because they aren't empathetic. They just aren't. And so they will condemn parent B for anything and everything and say it's their fault. Like parent B should have just gone and gotten married to whoever, even if their spouse ended up abusing their child. Because, that may be the case with parent A. They may have married somebody that abused their child for years, but refused to believe it, because then they would have to admit that they didn't have their child's best interests at hand. So it's just easy to create a whole story so that parent B is the bad person and parent A is the victim, and so is the child, and you see how it just goes on into this horrible spiral. So just remember, if you have the advantage of having family and friends to help, then extend that to the other parent. Always be helpful. Even if parent A does not help you back because they're a narcissist or a sociopath and they go out of their way to make everything completely difficult, still be the bigger person and always offer. That's what I do, even if I get shot down every time and told that I'm a horrible person and not allowed to be around their children. I'm not. I'm willing to take your children to practice. I'm willing to pick them up from school, or, they can all go to a movie together so that I don't have to make my child choose between seeing a movie with their siblings or me. We could all go together. But if the other parent will not allow that because they're bitter, jealous, they've created this whole psychotic world where parent B is this demon, horrible person, even though they just were like, hey, we could all go to a movie together. No big deal. There's nothing you can do. Because if the children from parent A, if they saw parent B as an actual good person that they are, that would completely shatter parent A's whole story and they would lose all credibility. So it probably won't happen, but just keep trying. You'll never know. Maybe hell will freeze over.